What is up, 7-3 fans? Welcome back to the 7-3 Garage. My name is Brandon. If you have not seen the last video, go ahead and check it out so you are up to date as to what is going on with this one. Kind of out of my element here, not in the garage for once, due to everything that's been going on around the world and in some local communities. Decided to kind of change it up here for this video. This is something I've kind of been wanting to do for a little bit, and I wanted to take it inside. And I do get a lot of questions about I guess as far as 7.3s go with tuning and injector and turbo setup. So we actually have a guest here on the show today. It's Brian from Jelibuilt Performance. So I was able to get him to agree to come on to the channel, if you will, to come out here and answer some questions that I seem to be getting. So kind of want to get his viewpoint and ask him some other questions that I have lined up here on my computer. So excuse me for looking over at the screen, but let's get right to it. So Brian, welcome to the channel, man. It's always good to have you here.
Hey, how's it going, Brandon?
It's going good, man. I know I've talked to you recently about some of the things here that have been going on with, just some questions that people have. So basically just want to see if we can clear some things up here for people that are either just getting into the game here or people that are somewhat veterans and are looking for, I guess, a new avenue, if you will, when it comes to tuning or performance stuff with 7.3s. So it'd be awesome to have you answer some questions for us.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me on here.
Yeah, not a problem, man. So let's get right into it here. And again, I'm going to be reading off my computer here just for everybody at home watching. So just tell us about the company, basically, and what some products you have that you offer for the 7.3 community.
Oh, yeah. So my name is Brian Jelich, and I own Jelibuilt Performance.
Mm-hmm.
And I specialize in 7.3 custom tuning, performance parts. I can pretty much get you anything related to 7.3 performance, whether it's injectors, turbos, even down to the lower end parts like billet rods, girdle, just about everything that you can think of for 7.3 I can get.
Yeah, and I know I bought a lot of my parts for my rebuild through you, so that's always appreciated. So I guess as far as parts go, what are some major brands that you like to offer on the shelf?
So I'm a big fan of the iRate diesel performance parts, like their T4 kits. Their fuel systems are really nice, top notch. There's not a competitor out there that makes a kit that's as nice as the iRate stuff.
Yeah, they make a nice kit for sure.
I carry full force injectors. They're great. Unlimited diesel injectors as well.
Mm-hmm.
Both companies are awesome to deal with, and they really stand behind their work. Some of the other products I carry are the Power Hungry Performance Hydras.
Yes.
Which is a great chip out there for the 7.3s. The TS chips are kind of fading out now. Just the Hydras are just kind of the way to go.
Right.
Mainly because of the revisions that you can get through email. It's just the way to go these days.
Yeah, I know you actually answered the question, which is awesome. That was my next thing I was going to kind of transition into, was kind of discussing the platform. I know I get a lot of people asking me what their, or what my opinion is on platforms. And I've found personally that the best platform is really the Hydra. Like you said, it kind of gives you the ability to, if you have a problem or you don't like the way that the truck shifts or you don't like the way the tune feels, you can, email the tuner. Or, I mean, in this case, it would be you for me. And, you're able to change tunes. And I know we had some issues with my transmission a couple years ago. I didn't really like the way that it was shifting, and we were able to get it dialed in, and I really haven't messed with it. So for anyone that's looking, I highly recommend a Hydra, and obviously you heard from the man himself. Hydra is really the way to go. So if anyone's thinking about that, I definitely would recommend a Hydra.
Yeah. And the Hydra will hold up to 15 custom tunes.
Yep.
So, you can get tunes from me. You can get tunes from SDK or 1023.
Yep, those guys are awesome too.
Any of the other custom tuners out there, there's plenty of slots to put tunes on those Hydras. So, but like you said, say if there's like a little quirk or something with the tune, like with the shifting, or maybe it's not quite idling right.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a quick email over, and the customer is loading the tunes onto their chip using the Hydro Flash program, and they're on their way. So
yeah, and that's awesome.
I can usually fix people's issues with one revision. So it's really the way to go. The TS chips, you have to mail the chip to me, then I gotta open it up, and have to erase the files, load the files back on the chip, then I gotta mail it back out. You're talking about at least a week's time right there. It's just a pain in the butt, and it's just Hydro's much better.
Yeah, and kind of, I guess to transition with that, I think a lot of the confusion is from things that I've seen is, people say, well, I have a TS style chip. What's the benefit of a Hydra? And what a lot of people don't really understand is a Hydra is, I guess in the same sense, a TS style chip. You mount it the same way, but the ability to edit the tunes and have the revisions done, like you said, almost immediately, via email is just a way better benefit than if you had to email, or I should say mail the actual chip into you.
Yeah, for sure. It's worth every penny.
Yeah, so that's and I know you usually have a lot of deals going on your site as far as, I at least I see you posting about them a lot, and I know it seems like you move a lot of those chips. So if anyone's thinking about grabbing one, I would definitely head over to Brian's website and check them out.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, check out the website, jelibuilt.com. That's JELIBUILT.com, and be more than happy to get everybody set up with a Hydro chip.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And I guess as always, if anyone that's watching, I'm going to be putting that down in the description. And for those of you who have not seen the last video, Brian is the new sponsor of the 7.3 Garage. So right before we end the video, I have a quick little update that we're going to throw in as well. But head on over to his website. Again, that will be in the description, so you can check out his website. It's got a lot of nice stuff on there. So to kind of move on here, so Brian, as far as tuning goes, I know you have some interesting names for some of your tunes than I guess, for example, TS did back in the day. So can you talk about some of the tunes that you offer and I guess their uses on the street?
Yep. So my highest power file is called the Drag Ripper. So that's going to be your your file that you're going to go to the drag strip with. You're going to try to beat all your Cummins guys, all your Duramax guys, just beat up on them pretty hard. And then it's just a good high power file. And then the next one below that is called the Extreme Street, and that's a pretty good file. And then the Hot Street is just below that. So those three tunes are going to be kind of my more performance style tunes. So just below those, I offer a daily driver file, and also have an eco mileage. So those are good files for cruising around on the street. Very mediocre files. For example, a truck that makes 450 horsepower on a drag ripper file will make about 375 to 400 on a daily file. So
yeah, it's very streetable too.
Comparison. Yeah, very streetable, very clean.
Nice.
Shifts very smooth. Just a good file to drive on the street. And then just below that, I have the tow files. So I have tow performance, and then I have a strenuous tow. Strenuous tow is my real heavy tow file.
Yeah. And
it's damn near smoke free, even on a truck with 300 to 200s. It's pretty much smoke free. And even with 400s, I mean, I can cut enough fuel out of there that it's just barely hazing.
Wow.
And a truck that makes 650 horsepower on the street, I can take enough fuel out of there where it makes only about 300 horsepower.
Wow. And I think that kind of goes with just the advancement in the tuning with 7.3s. And for those people that are watching again, if you don't really know injector sizes, a 400% is in a fuel injector that flows 400 cc's and has a 400% larger nozzle. So as you can imagine, that type or that size fuel injector is going to be very smoky with a very aggressive tune. That's going to have a proper turbo in it. and there's other modifications that are going to have to kind of go hand in hand with that. Yeah. But that's pretty awesome. You can get that thing almost smoke-free and be able to tow with it.
Yep. And then I also have a modified stock tune, so it's just pulling even more fuel out of it, so that it just as low power as possible, as close to stock as possible on the, that's from, setups that are wild all the way to stock,
Right.
That's the goal with a modified stock file, is just to keep it as stock as possible, power level, and have some little better shifting and stuff like that. So, because the stock, let's go back to like the stock shifting and stuff like that. I can't stand the stock shift patterns of a 4R or E4D.
Yep.
Factory calibrations, they suck because, it makes the 1-2 shift, and it goes to 2-3, and then the 3-4 shift, and then the converter locks like right at the same time as the 3-4, and it just falls on its face. And it happens at like 35 miles an hour. It's just ridiculous. So it just really falls on its face.
Yeah, I know those factory shift points are very, I guess sloppy is the right word. They're kind of lazy. They're not very aggressive. The way Brian has my truck shifting is awesome. I love how it shifts. It's very, I guess authoritative is the right word. I really haven't touched my transmission tune for quite some time. I even still have the tunes that you did when I had the stock bottom end in the truck, and it seems to run good with that. So until I make some changes here in the future, then we'll start thinking about changing some fuel stuff up. But the transition again, so we got another question here. We just wanted to talk again about some injector and turbo options, and I have on here for a strong all-around 7.3 that can be used as a daily. I think some people's fear is having a truck that's going to be too aggressive as far as fuel and turbo go, and they're kind of worried about, I guess losing that street ability, and I kind of want to have that, that all-around good performance, that the truck is streetable, the turbo will spool up, it's not too smoky. So I guess in your experience, what would you recommend as just an, I guess, all-around injector turbo setup for a 7.3?
Yeah, so the most common injector turbo setup that I sell is the stage 1.5 injectors. They're like you either go with 160cc 30% over, or a 180cc 30% over nozzle.
Yeah.
And that, along with a KC drop-in turbo 6373, that'll make around 450 horsepower.
Nice.
And on a Super Duty, like, you don't even have to run an aftermarket fuel system. You can just run just your regular fuel system on the truck with those injectors and that turbo, the stage 1.5 injectors and the KC 6373.
Yeah.
And it'll make 450 horsepower. And it's just a really good truck to drive. Like, it spools quicker, even almost as quick as stock. With that turbo that's on there. And you can still tow a lot of weight with it. You can still tow 15,000 pounds with it.
Wow.
Now, for your OBS guys, now they're going to want to do like electric fuel system with that. The mechanical pump just can't supply enough fuel for those injectors. So if they're a little bit more on a budget, then the stage 1 injectors, which is just a stock nozzle with the 160cc capacity.
Yep.
Now those will work great for an old body style truck, the stage 1s, and it'll still make 375 horsepower, maybe even touching 400 horsepower, with a KC drop in. Wow.
Yeah, I've actually heard a lot of good things about KC turbos. I mean, I've had my truck since like 2010, and back when I was in high school, I really didn't have a lot of money to buy, a lot of crazy stuff for the truck. And I think I do have a lot of subscribers and followers that are, at a younger age and are enthusiastic about the trucks, and kind of looking for something that they could do. And I guess as far as injector and turbo setup. And I remember I had a great experience with, I think I had 160 100%, and I had a rebuilt factory TP38 OBS turbo with a 1.0 exhaust housing and a wicked wheel too, and I think it did 390 on a race tune from you on the dyno. So I was super happy with that setup. It wasn't that smoky, and the thing ran awesome. So, and the EGTs were actually super conservative. I mean, wide open throttle, I'm being like maybe 12 or 1300. So it really wasn't very hot on the top end. So
Yeah.
that type of injector and turbo setup I think would be awesome for anyone that's I guess starting to get their feet wet in the game and wanted to see what it's about.
Yeah, because anything more than like 450 horsepower, you start sacrificing some of the use of the truck, like for towing and stuff like that. You can go a little bit bigger setup. When you start touching that 500 horsepower area, that's when you're going to have to start doing. Definitely have to do a fuel system upgrade. You're going to need to do head studs, valve springs, push rods. I mean, you're starting to get into that level where you're going to start needing some more parts, some supporting mods, and that stuff is not easy to install, and it just it's not cheap either. So it's just the more power you make, the more money you got to spend. That's just how it goes, and the more parts you break.
That's right. Unfortunately, a lot of us have to find out the hard way with that.
Yeah, I mean, you've been through a motor or two.
Yeah.
So.
I'm sure you've been through a few yourself.
Yeah. I've blown up a couple.
Yeah.
The original motor that was in my drag truck, it lasted a really long time, and it made 680 horsepower for about 3 years. And
wow.
I actually pulled that motor out of the truck and put a built motor in the truck, ran the crap out of it. I mean, it just 2 or 3 years of 10-second passes in a quarter mile, just EGTs, just didn't care. Cracked 7 out of the 8 cylinder walls, so it's like bad. Yep. So what happened was I actually took the motor back out, put my stock motor back in. I had huge compounds on it.
I remember that.
Yep. And it was making. I had the wastegates dialed into about 60 pounds of boost just to keep it happy, But for some reason, when I put it on the dyno at Rudy's, this was back in like 2012, I had the gate set, and it peaked around like 90 psi. And I'm pretty sure I bent the rod there. But a couple months later down the road, it finally, the rod came out. So,
yeah.
But yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, that's almost inevitable, I think, at that point. I don't know if it's just us. I mean, a lot of the 7.3 guys I know, I think, are probably the craziest group of individuals in a motorsport, I think, period. Anyone else that's watching, I'm sure, can vouch, but I mean, these guys are insane. I mean, with what they do and just not caring and beating the hell out of these trucks. And a lot of them hold on. A lot of them will last seasons or multiple seasons, and with nitrous and just beating the hell out of these things, and they live.
Yeah, the key thing with the forged rods and making a lot of power is just they run a really big turbo.
Yeah,
it keeps the torque levels low, and horsepower remains high.
Right.
But you can make 700 horsepower out of a stock forged rodded motor, and it'll could live for years. It could last for months, but
yeah, depending on how your foot is.
But I had my truck, with a stock motor. It lasted a really long time, and the only reason why it blew up is because I had compounds and it did 90 pounds of boost. So
right.
What do you have? It's going to happen. So
right. A lot of people don't think, when International designed this engine, they weren't thinking, hey, somebody down the road, this guy's going to put this engine's going to be in a Super Duty, and he's going to be making 90 pounds of boost. This engine was designed to see 18 to 20 pounds of boost. So
yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, let's go back to the 450 horsepower setup real quick.
Yeah.
I just wanted to touch on some of the engines or PMRs.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, so you can't really, 450 horsepower is kind of the limit on the PMR motors, which they started putting those connecting rods in the engines late 2000. So, if you're one of those guys listening out there that's got a late 2000 to 2003 7.3, you likely have PMR rods. So.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do some Googling. There's an inspection plug on the back of the block,
Mm-hmm.
and you can actually pop that out and take a peek in there, and you can be able to tell if you got PMR or forged rods. But yeah, if you do some Googling online, you'll be able to do some research and find out what you got. So
yeah, and the difference, in case anyone's never heard, I know I've talked about it in my videos, but a PMR rod is, as opposed to a forge, is the way that it's the actual connecting rod is casted.
yeah,
I believe,
exactly.
and correct me if I'm wrong, but the forge rod is actually one solid poured cast, as to where a powdered metal rod is just that. It's basically a powdered metal that is basically compressed into a connecting rod mold, if you will. And as it comes out, that's what it is. But it drastically reduces the truck's ability, to hold, I guess, a strong fuel injector and turbo setup with aggressive tuning.
Yep, exactly. So the forged rods are much stronger, and then of course the billet rods that are available, like Crillos or Hypermax, Manley.
Yep.
There's a bunch of different brands out there, and I mean basically any rod that's available out there that's aftermarket rods, they're all good. So, but yeah.
Yeah, man. No, that's cool. I think the market has just advanced for these trucks. I know you've been in the game a lot longer than I have. I mean, I think August 1st of this year will be the 10th year I've owned my truck. So, you've seen how much it evolved. I remember guys talking about, the quarter mod or whatever it was, and, doing the 10K mod and stuff on the forums and all kinds of crazy old stuff. So, the technology has just really come a long way.
Like the Zoodad mod.
Yeah.
I think I did that when I first bought my truck back in like 2004.
That's funny.
The header panel, you just go in there and you just put a hole saw and start drilling.
It's crazy. Yep, the way how far it comes, man.
Yeah.
So to kind of transition with that, speaking of modifying trucks, this is the last question here. Basically, just want to tell some of the viewers about your truck. I guess as far as horsepower goes, some of the 8th mile times you've done, and the class you're going to be running, and basically what some of your plans are. I guess I should say for the remainder of the 2020 season, because I know a lot of things have been canceled due to the whole global crisis going on.
Yeah. So the truck's a 2000 F350. Bought it back in 2004. It was like a grandpa truck.
Mm-hmm.
It was bone stock, and I daily drove it for a couple of years, and went way up in the air. It was lifted way up, and then I decided I want to go fast, so I lowered it back down and started modifying it, and started doing more and more, and next thing you know, I had a 700 horsepower truck and built the motor, and truck ran 10s. It took me a little while to get to the 10-second area in a quarter mile, but went to Diesel Power Challenge in 2010, placed 4th.
Nice.
It was an eye-opener for a lot of people there, even for all the magazine editors, because they've never seen a 7.3 do that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's awesome. It dynoed like 8.17, I believe.
Wow.
At Diesel Power Challenge. So, definitely opened some eyes there.
Yeah.
It was a really cool event. It's probably one of the most my most favorite events that I've ever been to. Just the level of trucks and just all these different businesses that came together. It was just really cool. And I met a lot of pioneers in the diesel community too back then. It was just a really cool event. But now today, the truck, about 2 years ago, I actually took off about 2,000 pounds off the truck. It's went under the knife. I got a fabrication guy, a fabricator down this way, Paul Cohen. He helped me out on the truck, and we took a bunch of weight off of it. Built a 25.6 SFI cage forward. Just took a ton of weight out of it, and it's really safe too. I mean, it's got a funny car cage, and it's just it's really cool. Have to check it out sometime when you're around the area and do some videos.
Yeah, man, that's definitely a goal for the channel, is to get up there and see that thing in action.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, the whole interior is just all aluminum, sheet metal, just bead rolled. Everything's just done perfect.
That's awesome.
And Paul's just an amazing fabricator. He worked for Monster Jam, building monster trucks for about 20 years.
Wow, I didn't know that.
He's super talented. He's the best fabricator that I know. He's really good.
Wow.
Yeah, he's really talented. But the truck, you know, I've gotten it down to last fall. I actually got the truck to the track, so I don't have a whole lot of runtime on it. But I did get it down to a 5.76 at 121 miles an hour.
Nice.
In the 8. So, I mean, it's scooting. It's making some power. It's not really where I want it to be yet. I think the truck will probably do like 530s, 540s, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
The engine makes about, I've actually dynoed it on the nitrous tune that I drag race it on, and it does about 1,082. So,
wow.
Yeah, it does 1,082, and it's capable of doing 1,200 plus.
Yeah.
And I may lean on it a little bit harder this year if I can get to the track and put down some good numbers. You know, the engine is just it's a 7.3, of course, billet rod, stud main girdle, Molly pistons. You know, the heads are Crutchfield ported heads. It's got a pretty nice cam in it.
Nice.
I won't go into too many details on the cam.
I don't blame you.
But yeah, you know, it's got a S476 forced inductions turbo, so it's a 76 millimeter turbo.
Nice.
With a T6 housing with a 96 millimeter turbine wheel, so it really flows a lot of air.
Nice, and that's a front mount turbo, correct?
Yeah, it's a front mount turbo. So the headers that are on it, they're actually 2-inch primary, going into a 2.5, and then it goes up to the front turbo.
Nice.
So yeah, it's moving a lot of air. So
yeah.
Yeah, and trying to think what else. It's got like a 6-inch thick intercooler out front made by O3 On3 Performance, I believe. Yeah, On3 Performance.
Yeah, I know those guys do a lot of Mustang stuff.
Yeah, they're kind of they're for the gassers really, and I kind of just retrofitted it to
cool.
to the 7.3, but you know, Byron clamps, you know, the HD clamps that are got the O-rings and stuff. So
yeah, those guys make awesome stuff.
Yeah, it's really cool. Really good product. Don't have to worry about blowing boots or anything. You know, it's got you know, the iRate fuel system on it. Aeromotive A1000 pump. The pump's actually the pump that I bought in like 2007. So,
no way. So it's the same pump. That's cool.
You know, like everybody's like, oh, my A1000 burn up. Not this one, bro. And you
that's cool.
This one.
That's cool, man. I know those are good pumps. I know they're really good pumps.
Yeah, and I was so worried back then that I actually bought another pump. So I actually got 2 of them that are really old. So I know the newer ones I guess they got some cheaper stuff inside of them. But yeah, I got a A1000 pump, and trying to think what else I could talk about. Oh yeah, it's got a 16-volt battery, which is pretty cool.
Yes, you know, I remember the first time you sent me a video of that thing starting, I was like, man, that thing starts like very fast. Like the starter is very fast.
Yeah, that thing is just getting it. It's like,
yeah,
as soon as you hit the button, it's like 1,000 RPM. I don't think it's really 1,000, but it turns over fast.
It sure does.
And it only weighs like 7 pounds.
Really?
Yeah, it's an expensive battery, but it's nice, man.
Yeah, it's cool.
It starter loves it.
Yeah, man, I remember hearing that thing start up. I'm like, geez, that thing fires right up.
Yeah. And as far as the tires, I just changed tires and wheels on it.
Yes.
And yeah, so I got a set of Mickey Thompson tires on it. I was running M&H years previous.
Mm-hmm.
But the Mickey Thompsons are a little better compound, so should help out on the 60 foots. And the wheels, I went with some beadlock wheels, aluminum, and they're anodized. Some
awesome.
of it's anodized black, so they're really sharp looking, and they're made by Whole Shot and they're down there in Florida too.
Cool. Yeah, I think I've seen a few of their wheels out on the, I guess at the local racetrack. Yeah, they make a nice wheel.
Yeah. So it's got some stance to it. It looks good. Truck sharp. I just got it wrapped. My boy down in where is he from? Anyways, he's in Eastern North Carolina,
mm-hmm.
and Stitch Count. He did the wrap. So,
cool.
Yep. But yeah, stock axles still. Do have a spool in the back,
mm-hmm.
just to help out on traction, because the limited slip that I had in there was she was wore out.
Starting to get tired.
Yeah, 15 years of abuse.
Yeah.
But yeah, stock axles. Other than that, it's got a Dana 60 in the front. Stock transfer case, or Reynolds transfer case. Got some custom drive shafts made for it. Engine diaper. It's got a transmission blanket. All the safety stuff that the Outlaw Diesel Super Series requires, it's got. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Yeah, that's awesome. I know, like you said, you've had that truck for quite some time, and I can only imagine. I mean, I've dumped a lot of money into mine. I can only imagine the amount of money you've dumped into yours, but here you are still proving people wrong, at the racetrack and hurting feelings, and I guess that's what it's all about.
It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun, and this started off as a hobby for me, and and just escalated, and everybody wanted parts and tuning, and I just went ahead and started a business. So, and here I am.
Yeah, that's it, man. And it's awesome to see the company, has grown. I remember hearing about the tuning back in the days from some guys that, that would go up to the Jamboree and like, you got to try Brian's tunes. And I remember I reached out to you a few years ago, and that was kind of that. And I remember I think you had just started tuning, or just started your business, I should say, because I know you've been tuning for quite some time, but just started the business, and I've seen it grow in the last 2 years, and I know you've come a long way. So
yeah, I'm very thankful for all my customers and people dealing with me, and my phone is on me, and if somebody needs to call me. Just don't call me real late at night. But,
I'm sure it happens, but
yeah, just appreciate all the business from everybody, and I love what I do.
Yeah, man, and we, I guess we being the 7-3 community, I guess I could say it on our behalf, is we really appreciate it, and look forward to more stuff you're going to offer in the future, and maybe some custom parts of your own, and it's just a matter of time, but I'm sure you'll get there. But we do appreciate you coming out here and just saying a couple words here on the channel, man. I think a lot of people will get a lot out of all this.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on here, and look forward to doing more of this kind of stuff in the future. And so I appreciate it very much.
Yeah, thanks again, Brian. Really appreciate it. So we're going to go ahead and kind of round this video up here. So again, everyone, thanks for watching. I hope a lot of people got some stuff out of that. Brian's got a lot of knowledge in the field, a lot of experience. So again, if you have any questions, go ahead and call him. His website, again, will be in the description below. And before we go, I spoke to him today before we went ahead and did this interview here, and the 7-3 Garage stickers are in the mail. So once those arrive, I'll put out a new YouTube video or vlog and talk about pricing and ways to order, and I'll be also putting it on my Instagram as well. So if anybody has any questions, again, keep on the lookout for those stickers coming out. And that's about it, guys. So if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you can see when we have new videos coming out here. We do have some stuff coming up kind of slowly here due to the slowdown of the world. So just keep an eye out for that. But as always, thank you everybody for watching. My name is Brandon. This is the 7-3 Garage. We will see you next time.